Good evening. I would like to welcome you to the regularly scheduled meeting of the City Council, February 9th, 2026. Please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Let's see, Madam Clerk, would you take the roll?
Sure. Good evening.
Good evening.
Mayor Burris, Mayor Pro Tem Hoheimer,
Here.
Councilmember Abel,
Here.
Councilmember Hilst,
Here.
Councilmember Netter,
Here.
Councilmember Fletcher,
Here.
Councilmember Phillips.
Here. All 6 out of 7 are here, so I'll call that a quorum. We will be conducting business. Have a little bit of a switch of plans tonight. Instead of having to approve the agenda next, we are going to have our presentation by Lauterbach and Amann LLP 2023, the audit. So, welcome.
Madam Chair, do you want to make sure that none of the council members have any objection to that? I don't think they do.
Does anybody have any objection?
And we'll record in the minutes that no objections were noted.
No objections.
All right, good evening. I am Jen Martinson with Lauterbach and Amann, here, of course, to present the audit results for the fiscal year ended April 30th, 2023. Before we get started, I do want to take this opportunity quickly just to really thank Eric and Bob and the rest of the finance team with the city for all of their hard work during the audit process. I know, as you can imagine, each audit has its challenges, and when we're working towards some of those older fiscal years, you could have those challenges compounded. And this team has really been fantastic to work through this process. We really appreciate their effort and coordination. We've seen quite a bit of improvements, as we'll go over in the management letter as well for the future, so we certainly look forward to continuing to work with the city. So thank you, Eric, and of course, extend thanks to your team as well. As council knows, the city is required to undergo a financial statement audit each fiscal cycle. And really the goal of the audit is for us as your auditors to be able to provide an opinion on the financial statements presented this evening. So we've of course completed our audit procedures, and we have issued an unmodified or clean audit opinion for fiscal year 2023. So that is the highest level of assurance that we can provide on the financial statements, that clean, unmodified opinion. And it really just means that the financial statements are materially correct or do in fact accurately represent the financial position of the city, again, for fiscal year ended April 30th, 2023. So I know this financial information may be a little stale. You guys have worked through more recent financial information with your finance team. So I'm really just going to focus on some of the key areas of the audit report to draw your attention to and where you guys can focus your time. The first would be what we call the MD&A, or Management's Discussion and Analysis. And so that's going to be on page 5, right in the front of the audit report. And really, this is the executive summary to the audit report. If you read just those 10 or 12 pages, you'll have a full understanding of all of the financial results for the year. It's really going to touch on those highlights, some of the changes from the prior year to the current year. So really much easier to digest than some of the financial statements. And I know it's a rather large report, so it really nicely summarizes that if you read that section there towards the front. Additionally, quite a bit of the meat in the middle of that audit report is really just going to be your footnotes, where you'll see some more detailed information on capital assets and long-term debt for the city if you were interested. And then I also do like to point out your budgetary comparison schedules towards the back on page 109, where the council can see in more detail that comparison to that approved budget and the actual financial results. So a lot of detailed information there as well. Additionally, as part of our audit process, I would be required to communicate if we had any difficulties during the audit, disagreements with management, and I'm happy to say that we did not. We do have that management letter, which really is just our opportunity to be able to provide any recommendations, as well as information on the industry, and then some of the upcoming GASB, or Governmental Accounting Standards Board, statements that we would be required to implement. So we do have that file here. The only new recommendation that you'll see for this year is really just an awareness of IT security. That's becoming more concerning, especially in the industry, so just making sure council has an awareness of that. And then additionally, everything else is really prior recommendations, and you'll see that Eric has provided responses for each of these recommendations, and many of them have been implemented or improved upon since this fiscal year, and we'll be anticipating that this will be a much smaller document as we get through each fiscal cycle moving forward. So really overall, a smooth audit process. We, of course, have seen those improvements and continue to see the improvements coming through the finance team and appreciate our relationship through this process. And I'd be happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Thank you so much for all your hard work. We really, really appreciate it. And if you could just go into overdrive and get the rest of them done, we would be even happier.
I did tell Eric we have some time scheduled this month to start the next one, so.
Fabulous. We
We're
love you
certainly on
guys.
track.
We love you guys. Anybody on the council? Mrs. Phillips?
Yes.
I would reiterate, we really appreciate all the hard work that goes into this, and I'd like to say that I've actually done that job, and it is much harder than people appreciate, and especially when you have to go back and clean up things that got broken before. I do have one question.
Yeah, of course.
You mentioned the IT concerns.
Yes.
I am assuming that that does not encompass the recent changes that we have made in the last few months.
Correct.
You may not even know about them.
Yeah, go ahead.
So we've noted the management responses, the changes that we currently implemented, and the steps that were taken to address it.
Thank you.
And again, just to clarify, this is a comment that we have kind of across the board been issuing, just again as an awareness. So not where we had any very specific concerns related to the city that caused this comment, but again, just industry awareness.
Thank you for that clarification.
Yes, of course.
Mr. Nutter, Mr. Hilst, questions? Gentlemen? Thank you so much for your presentation. We really appreciate it.
Yes, thank you.
Have a nice evening.
Have a great evening.
Ladies and gentlemen, I would seek a motion to approve the agenda.
Madam Mayor Pro Tem, I make a motion that the agenda be adopted, be approved as presented.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. Hill, seconded by Mr. Abel. Any questions, comments, concerns? Take your vote. That'd be 6-0. Ladies and gentlemen, I would be looking for an approval of minutes.
Madam Mayor Pro Tem, I move that the regular meeting minutes of the City Council on January 26, 2026 be approved. Second.
Thank you, Mr. Nutter, for the motion, and Mr. Abel for the second. Any questions, comments, concerns? City council meeting? No? Okay. Take your vote, folks. Six, zero. Pass. We are now going to go into public input. Before we go into public input, I have something that I would like to input. Before we begin public input, I want to share a few thoughts about where we are in the data process center process. I believe there is more common ground here than it may feel like at times. Everyone in this room cares about protecting our community from undue risks. That includes the council, the residents who would be impacted by this proposed data center, and believe it or not, the company proposing the project. Our common goal is to get this decision right. The reason the council wanted contingencies was to identify potential risks things like infrastructure impact, environmental considerations, quality of life, and long-term obligations, and to require clear, enforceable responses to those concerns from the developer. That work is still underway. The company is in the process of preparing its responses to the standards that we have set. Until we have that information, it would be irresponsible and unfair to draw conclusions. What I can say is this: the further we travel through the process, the more clarity and confidence we gain in the decision we are being asked to make. Public input has been important because it helps ensure the right questions are being asked, and I appreciate everyone who has taken the time to participate. Our goal isn't to approve or deny projects quickly, it's to get decisions right. I ask that we keep comments respectful and focused as we continue this evaluation. And when you come up to the microphone, please state your name and make sure the microphone is on so we can hear you. You have to put that sign down. Thank you.
Good evening. Oh, that's kind of loud. Name's John McNish. The city's 2024 updated transition plan states that to remediate all the horrible non-ADA compliant sidewalk conditions that are identified, it'll take $64 million based on the 2023 dollars not taking into account a normal 3 to 4% escalation cost for construction. At the city's current rate of commitment of $250,000 a year, it would take either 241 years and 8 months, using the ADA portal figure as of 11/10/2024, or 248 years and 8 months using the 4/23/25 court filing. Hold on. Those are way better terms than the 4-year payment plan for the Ludekin land. Would the owner of the Ludekin land wait over 240 years for payments? The city is able to cough up cash for land that wasn't even in the city limits, all the while they fail to fix all the horrible sidewalks and street corners that were ordered to fix. What will the federal judges think of this? Who up there understands that all of this can have a huge impact on your budget? Even based on the city's $3 million figure, only touches over 6% of the total amount of the $64 million. For all the work that needs to be done, is this due diligence or is it fast tracking? Or is this just the smoke and mirrors to make someone dumb enough to believe the city is serious about ever complying with the consent decree requirements? Let me direct you to some important items. The Illinois Municipal League's Americans with Disability Act Resource Guide, December 1st, 2023 edition. This should have been issued to each and every council member at swear-in, but I'm positive it wasn't included in your How Good Home Rule binder. I would get a copy and read Maintenance of Accessible Features, Section 1, page 10. City of Pekin's insurance will not cover another ADA lawsuit. That's how bad the ADA compliance program is. I suggest some real due diligence and some really fast tracking to get compliant. Next, I have an accessibility survey from 2016 with several items listed that needed fixed. I checked a few to see if they were done. Guess what? Nope. One being specifically the urinal in the men's restroom needs to be lowered to 17 inches. It's still at 25. Is this due diligence or fast tracking? Lastly, the city's updated transition plan is a very interesting document to say the least. Starting on PDF page 132, also known as Exhibit G, this section lists several areas of non-ADA compliance. Taxpayers paid a lot of money to get this study completed. How many of them items have been completed? I say 0 to 1, maybe. Is this due diligence or fast tracking? In the reality of things, there are disabled residents in this community that can't freely travel in this city due to all these issues. This is bigger than you. If you're going to be on the council or play mayor, it's time to start holding these people accountable for their noncompliance and lack of action. I will see you all on the 23rd to let you know how much you're paying that attorney. Have a great night.
Thank you.
Madam Mayor Pro Tem,
Yes.
for the people that are standing outside, there's empty seats inside here, so if you want to come in and sit down, please do. There's seats in here. Thank you.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Please state your name.
Hanson. See if we spell it right tonight. Forgive me for reading. I have not yet mastered public speaking, but I'm working on it. I want to say I appreciate the council getting ahead of us a little bit by reassuring us on their commitment to doing this right. And everybody in here believes you are, but our stance is not changed. I'd like to thank the council for again giving me and us a platform to speak. That is the great thing about our Constitution and our political system in America. The people have a voice, and that voice matters. The voice of the people is what powers the decisions made by the leaders we elect to represent us. 2 weeks ago, a large group of us came to the meeting to voice our concerns in opposition to a data center potentially coming to Pekin. I take my glasses off to read this, geez. We were unorganized but united in spite of the things that divide us. Neighborhoods where we live, differences as in the way we live, where we work, where we come from. We spoke with facts and case histories, and some, like me, just from the heart. 2 weeks later, we are now organized, we are armed, and we are committed to this cause. We have committees, researchers, leaders, and outreach to entities that have the facts and who fought this battle in other places and won. You know, to the council members who've joined our Facebook group, we thank you. And for those who have been reading along, we thank you as well for taking an interest in our thoughts on this. But let's be clear on a few things. We do not want this here, period. The residents and homeowners, the taxpayers, and the voters are speaking loudly. We do not want this here. Of the people, by the people, for the people means something. The people of Pekin elected each of you to represent our best interests, not your best interests. We did not put you in those seats for any other reason, and that is important. The foundation of politics in this country is based on the people having a voice, and we, the people of Pekin, are reclaiming and using our voice in local politics. Right now, politics in general is leaving the for the people part behind, and in Pekin, we're finished with that. We've moved beyond the political divide in a unified effort to stop this from coming here. There are more of us than there are of you. If we polled every person in Pekin, and through canvassing, we're working on that, those against the data center would overwhelmingly outnumber those in favor of it. I have yet to see or hear from a single person who is for it. And let's be upfront about one thing. I can promise that anyone on the council who votes to move forward with this might want to look at that imbalance of people who are against this coming here and maybe ponder their long-term political ambitions. The council keeps telling us there needs to be more studies, more information gathered, and so on. But that's not true. There does not need to be one more minute of anything other than shutting this down. We've done all the studies for you. We have and continue to gather all the information we all need. I have yet to see a single positive from putting a data center in this town, not one. Now, beyond that, we are open to ideas for that property that can still generate revenue for the city of Pekin, which wouldn't come at the cost of our resources, stress our energy grid, take more money out of our pockets, something this council is good at doing, while devaluing the land it's built on. That's what needs more studying and more information. Again, thank you all for your time.
Thank you.
I would like to ask that the speakers refrain from using language like armed. I think that in today's society, although we often use that word just in general to mean that we have gathered our tools to address a problem, it is an extremely disturbing thing to hear people talking about being armed while yelling at you about what they think you should do.
Thank you. Good evening.
Can I speak?
Yeah.
I'm not armed, but I have two arms. Hello, my name is Dave Milam. I own Creative Landscaping in Pekin since 1979, which is a business. I do budgets every year up to date. I'm first of all curious how we got so far behind on budgets and are making $14 million investments on property. To me, if I didn't have my budgets already figured out for next year, I'm not moving on anything other than the minimal amount of stuff, not going outside or exceeding any of the proposed situations that we're getting into here. So I'm just curious how that works. So at some point, if you would address that. Now, I will say, I moved out into the middle of the epicenter. And if you know my history, I've moved at least 9 different buildings in the city of Pekin, or houses, and kept them in the taxing body of the city of Pekin. When people were going to demolish them, I took them, made money with them, and sold them. Yes, I made money with them. There's ways to make money without demolishing buildings, without tearing up our natural resources. There's lots of other alternatives. And all I'm saying is, please be open-minded on this situation, this data center. And I just happen to be in the epicenter of this, where I moved my house that was going to be for a fire station as property now sitting. And again, I don't have time to follow all the politics, or I'd be sitting up there with you folks, and I don't want to do that. So I, first of all, applaud you for doing. Somebody's got to do the dirty work in the towns and the different situations, whether you're a police officer, a fireman, whatever it is, or if you're an accounting firm, I get that. But I just don't understand how we don't get a budget and are buying property when they're not set. That, to me, does not make sense. Have any of you not done your 2024 taxes yet? Anybody? 23, 24, I don't care. You know what I'm talking about. Previous taxes, right? Okay. We'd be in trouble, correct? So whenever you're not doing your paperwork, you're in trouble financially, correct? So I'm sorry, I just don't have a vote of spending money until I have my budgets all in place, which would be, this is what, 2026, correct? And I see businessmen here that I know are listening to what I'm saying, and it does not make sense to me where we get out ahead of the cart. And I'm just adding that financial thing. And I just want you to be, please, diligent with people's taxpayers' money. That's why you are getting so much, because over the years, politicians have undermined people's security in their situation. Would you not all agree with that? There's a reason, because they've done things that we thought were dirty or under the table. And that's all they want, is they want to see transparency. And one of the things I urge you to do is to get the budgets up before you keep spending money. That's all I had to say. Granted, I don't want a data center in my backyard, but I definitely want to see the due diligence done by each and every one of you that actually do your own research, not just drive up to a similar data center that's not even close to the one they're talking about building. Get out of your car, even if it's night, and listen to the noise, because the noise level is definitely a concern to me, as well as the light pollution, and it should be, because I believe all your real estate values, if you're anywhere near that, is going to drop. But again, that's my opinion right now. We're all working on our due diligence. Thank you for your time, and I hope some of this made sense. I'm not a professional speaker like the rest of the people. Thank you.
Thanks, Dave.
Madam Mayor Pro Tem, Karen, Eric's going to real quick explain the difference between budget, which we do every year, and audit. There's a difference.
Thank you, Mr. Dubrowski.
Just to clarify, so we are not behind on budgets. Currently, the FY 25-26 budget's online, and we're working on the preparation for the 26-27, which will be filed on time. The audits, we do have a backlog, and that's what we're working through at this point, and we have a plan to catch up within the next year to year and a half.
Thank you for the clarification. State your name.
Mark Stevens,
Thank
with
you.
a V this time. Those people with PH are different. I'm just teasing. Sorry, terrible joke. I do have some packets for Mayor Pro Tem, City Council, and staff involved. I don't know if I should hand them to you out there. Okay, fantastic. We're not going to cover all of that. I do want to say that I supported local businesses. Staples made a killing off what I did over there today. So I just wanted to pass that along. So we talked last time from the heart, Councilmember, Mayor Pro Tem, Economic Director Ray, and City Manager Dawsey. We talked about doing things, we talked about facts. A lot of what I'm going to talk about in this short 5 minutes is in that packet. There's footnotes, there's links. Sorry, you'll have to type it in, doing different things like that. But I wanted to talk about a couple facts regarding the state of Pennsylvania. The state of Pennsylvania spent a lot of time doing research through PricewaterhouseCoopers. They did it through their Public Utilities Commission, and they did it through DuKunst Light Projects. So I'm going to highlight a few of those as we go through those and talk about that. First, let's talk about what they're going to, and I don't know how to say DuCoins. I'm not sure how they say that in Pittsburgh and over there in Pennsylvania. They estimate $2.18 billion in 2025 for different projects to keep up with their electric demand. They expect that in fiscal year 26-27 to rise to $2.75 billion. Of that, using footnotes 1 and 2 on your sheet, $1.7 billion in the state of Pennsylvania is attributed to grid demand from data centers, demand being defined as supply, not structure, not integrity, demand. If you go to the next step, you see the tax revenue versus taxpayer burden, right? PricewaterhouseCoopers estimated that $1.36 billion in state and local tax revenue fiscal year 2023 from data centers. Amazing numbers for the state of Pennsylvania. However, the study also found that out of that $1.36 billion, it was offset by the $1.7 billion demand on the grid, which means the citizens and residents of the state of Pennsylvania bore $340 million of increased costs due to electric demand. Employment scale. Pennsylvania data center employment. This is regarding NAICS. I'm sure plenty of people here know what that stands for. NAICS, if you look at my chart on the back page, you can see the codes that they did. They took those numbers and they figured that around 15,000 to 18,000, using 2023, 2024 math, equated to about 0.25% of state jobs. National averages show that if you take those NICS, you take that, you do the math, you break it down, that the data centers in the state of Pennsylvania employed, each one employed about as many as an Olive Garden restaurant. Flipping over, hidden local costs. We've talked about the higher utility bills. We've talked about how data centers sometimes will greenwash some of their data regarding standard modeling and M-Plan and the different multipliers that they use. If they used standard accurate modifiers using what they do, then we should be saying that data centers would generate over 25,000 jobs, of which we've not heard that from the city. On top of that, Bank of America did some research that over 75% of data center build costs go directly to servers and network, switches, uninterruptible power supplies, all sourced elsewhere. Only 2.5% of the costs were sourced locally. So, on top of that, some different things that we've talked about and gone through and did some things. I'd like to also talk about some different things that happened regarding the meeting at EDAC today. In EDAC today, we talked about, there was a talk about how the property will generate $20 million per year in new property taxes. Economic Director Roy was so, I appreciate him showing his math. That's not easy to do. That takes courage. And I appreciate him for that, and I applaud him for that. I would also like to say that in that packet you were handed, there is an article from BBB Real Estate arguing the costs versus CRE, commercial real estate, versus data centers. They've shown that it's hard to evaluate them until you know exactly what you're doing. Talking about power and MISO, as I wrap this up. MISO is currently fast-tracking 15 new power generation centers. Not grid infrastructure, but they don't have enough power to handle what is demanded. In my last 30 seconds, because I am a positive person, because I love this city, because I care about what can happen, I'd like to offer some suggestions. One being what the city of Rantoul has done. The city of Rantoul did a public-private partnership attacking excuse me, that's not a good word, going after the $40 billion travel sports industry. Rantoul hosts tournament. Eateries are filled up. Would the city consider low-density residential opportunities to build up a community that embraces nature and allows more impact on the housing shortage? Could the city develop co-working space, residential development? Would the city consider codes? And would the city consider building the Pekin that we all believe in? Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Please state your name.
My name is Adam Rogers. Forgive me, I'm a little nervous. This is my first time speaking
fine.
publicly. I'm going to be real quick. I just have one simple question for you guys. You may know that very close by Ludekin Properties is McNaughton Park, which is a wildlife sanctuary. I want to know what possessed you guys to build this thing so close to a wildlife sanctuary and homes when we have a perfectly good industrial district down here on Hannah Drive, which would be far more suitable for a facility of this nature.
Thank you. Thank you.
Location, location.
State your
Name is
name.
Terry Johnson.
Thank you.
I don't have the stats or figures that all these gentlemen prior to me had. I will notify you that I am one of the residents that live 800 feet from where you're going to be building this or proposing to build this facilities. Since I have come in contact with it, I started researching and looking and trying to find out as much as I could to allow an open mind on the situation. The more I looked, the more I became fearful of where I lived. I bought that property 30-some years ago, and I was in the country. It has slowly progressed to where there's a lot of nice homes out there now, and people enjoy their solitude, their peace, and their quiet, and their country, and forgive me, darkness. It's nice to be out there in the wilderness and to see what Bill had originally planned. Mr. Ludekin was an odd duck. He desired to have an environmental area for Pekin. And now, since he's not here, other decisions are being made. He had planned on a refuge, an animal hunting area, a game preserve, and he wanted it all for nature. But now, some people are looking at the financial aspect of it, and people like me are worried about what's coming out there. Now, just for your information, I have several neighbors that have been having to haul water for the last 2 years because the water table's down. Most people don't think about that. They're hooked to the city water lines and they get all the water they want. But out where we're at, you've got to plan, you've got to make adjustments, and if something like this comes in and taps into the water filter system through the Groveland system, most people don't know that the water tower out in Groveland, the water is pumped from Pekin all the way out there so some of the Groveland residents can have water. I just want you to think about it from a personal standpoint, that I'm a little deeply concerned what's coming out there. And I do hope you haven't already made commitments. I do hope you have not already signed up for this, that you actually are listening to the people and the situation and taking it into consideration for the well-being of Pekin. We can do better than this. So I leave it at that.
Mr. Patterson, thank you so much. I wanted to know if you got one of these.
I got one.
It is a timeline.
It's Johnson. That's Patterson over
Johnson,
there.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
Terry's over there.
Johnson, I'm so sorry.
I have one. Thank you.
Okay, I wanted to make sure you had one.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you much for listening. Thank you.
Can you hear me?
Yes. Your name?
Milam. His last name is M-I-L-A-M. Somebody needs to correct that for the video and the transcript, the agenda. Okay?
I'm
My
sorry,
name-
your
My
statement.
name is Renee Thomas. I want to thank you guys for your job. Well done. You've been doing a great job. This is a tough one, I understand that. It's a thankless job. I understand where you're coming from. I've served before in my life. Okay. I'm going to bring a little credibility to myself because I live in Orlando, Florida. Winter Park is a little city next to Orlando. I am raised in Pekin, Illinois. I have family in Illinois. I went to PCHS. I went to Illinois Central College. I went to Illinois State University and got a bachelor's in biology. I got a master's degree in biology. I taught biology at Illinois Central College. I moved to Florida, taught biology in Florida. Then I became a consultant. I was an environmental consultant for 25 years. I had my own business. I worked for the developers. Half of our work was city, county, state, roads, bridges, all of that. The other half was private development. I have done hundreds of Walmart projects. I have done hundreds, in 25 years, hundreds of residential and commercial and projects that are nowhere near as big as what's coming in as a proposed hyperscale AI data center. Nothing like that. But I can tell you I understand development, and I know what developers are doing. This project is being brought in by a very large, sophisticated team, as you all know. I've dug into it. I've spent hundreds of hours since I heard this was coming, because I said, uh-oh, not Pekin. Because as you know by now, they are targeting communities such as yours. And here's what I think came down. I think that the seller approached the city, said, I got 1,000 acres, and I would buy it if I had the money too. And you made a very 4-3 split vote on it, I understand that. But you bought the property because you have really good intentions. I listened to every single video. I put a timeline together. It's on the Facebook page where you can go to the video and hear everybody speaking. And everybody had very good intentions, even though they were hesitant to buy the land. But they bought the land because they knew it was a very good idea for Pekin to get this land, 14,000. Okay, so 14,000 an acre, and here's what happened, I think. I think the big team of people that are out there looking for projects, that Walmart does it too, I think they said, we got one. And I think you are prey to this predator. And I'm telling you, you are being preyed upon because there are countless examples of this particular Western Hospitality Partners. They take, you know what, and throw it against the wall and see what sticks. A couple of them have been paused. One has been shot down already, put down, rejected, and a bunch are pending, and they're all in communities just like this. I love Pekin. I can't even believe that could happen to this town. So I warn you, they know what they're doing. They got a high-powered team, attorneys. They got every single buddy involved on that team to try to talk you into something that, guess what? You hold the cards. You don't need to listen to them, and don't trust the Data Coalition Center website because they support data centers. Do your own research, and yes, you're going to get $1 million, this and that, but I'm not going to go in any detail because everybody else is doing that. I'm just warning you that I know what you're up against, and I know there's some really smart people, not just here, they're right there. Those are your citizens. There's some really smart people back there doing a lot of work, like he said, teams. Loads of teams, tons of research, because they care about this city that much. It is not about the money. They really care. They're not next door to it like some people. They're all over the place. And that 3-mile radius and all the stuff that's happening out there when you're getting the news about the big hyperscale, it's not what you thought. Because if you look back at what you guys talked about when you had a vision, it was about retail and commercial. And all of a sudden, this little technology park got added, or technology center. That's completely different than what you're up against now. I got 25 seconds left. I'm going to remind you that you had a vision. Stick with your vision. It's not about the money. You can make this site work without their $4.5 million. Here is a lot of people to listen to. You also have some environmental. You got bald eagles. You got beautiful property. I'm going to give you this. I'm going to give it to you. Thank you. Here. That bald eagles that are out there and around the city that are coming in is a really special thing. I could go for hours on that, but
Thank
these
you.
people love their land. Let's listen to them.
Thank you, Renee.
All right.
Thank you. Before we have another speaker, could you please keep that sign down? That this is not the place for your sign. Thank you.
Hi,
Hi,
I'm Sherry
state your name.
Folk. I live on California Road, not too far from where this is going to be built. Pro Tem Hoheimer, sorry. You had posted on the Facebook page that how would we feel if we were in your shoes, correct? And I responded to you. How would you feel if you were in our shoes?
My statement was made because people were attacking me personally.
And we feel attacked personally.
Have I
we
attacked you
don't,
personally?
We do not want this. We moved outside of town on a little over 2 acres for peace and quiet to enjoy the wildlife, the environment, the habitat. This is going to be completely destroyed. Can you guarantee me that my property value is not going to plummet when this thing is built? Can you guarantee it's not going to pollute the air that I breathe or the water that I have to drink? Can you guarantee that my son's not going to have seizures, more seizures, because of the transmission of the vibration that this facility emits? You can't guarantee any of that. You can't guarantee that it's not going to affect the wildlife. All you can guarantee is, oh, you guys, well, sorry, the city of Pekin will make money. There's other ways to make money. Rick, your wife has been to my house. She knows what beautiful land is out that way. Have any of you been out there? Have any of you went and looked at what you're willing to let be destroyed? Because if not, maybe you ought to. You don't want this in your backyard. Do you want to look at lights all night long and hear a constant hum 24/7? Because that's what this is. That's all.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Diana Lee. I wanted to say I'm following her because we live on Coal Hollow just off of Edgewater, 3/10 of a mile from where this thing's supposed to be. My mom and dad purchased their property in 1958 and have lived there all these years. And now we're looking at something like this coming in to drop the value of their property, which they don't appreciate. My dad's passed, but my mom is scared to death, 86 years old. And she said, we're going to have to sell the house if this comes in. I said, we're not selling this house or the land because this thing ain't coming in. It's not in your backyard, and we don't want it in ours at all. So too many things that are not researched, too many things that we don't know, and the things that we do know are not good. So I am saying, no, we don't want this.
I just have some quick things, but my name is Julianne McLaughlin, or Julianne Golan. Anyways, I had to come straight from work, so pardon the attire. I just wanted to get some facts out there real quick. So a single generative AI query uses 5 times the energy as a typical search engine request. Generating a single image using AI consumes the same amount of energy as charging a phone to full power. Training one large AI model consumes 5 times the lifetime emissions of the average American car. By 2030, at the current rate of AI growth, 22 to 44 million metric tons of CO2 will go into our atmosphere, which is the equivalent to 5 to 10 million cars. I don't know if you've been watching stocks lately, but AI isn't doing well. This proposed center is going to take, I think you guys said, somewhere to 5 to 6 years to build. How do we know it's not going to be, we're going to be beyond that by that point? I don't know if you've noticed across the globe, a lot of countries are very concerned with security risks with AI. For example, Microsoft has implemented Copilot, which is a way to take all of your data and upload it into their data centers in order to train their AI models. That's a huge security risk if security risks are on your mind. France, for example, has completely banned AI or moved away from Microsoft and is going into Linux and other products that they can ensure AI is not going to be grabbing your information against your will. And I also suggest that you use search engines such as DuckDuckGo, where you can turn off the AI, unlike Google. I would definitely rethink this decision because the AI bubble is about to burst. People are becoming more aware of the environmental impacts, how big of a security risk it is for their personal information, and they're moving away from it. So please keep that in consideration.
Thank you. Good evening. State your name, Yvonne.
My name's Elaine Ritchie.
Elaine.
I really don't have much to say about this place, but listening to everyone makes me really think, why don't we put it on the ballot and let these people vote on it instead of all of you making the decision? It is their town. It is what they feel. And I feel that they have a voice to say what they want here. And that's only fair to them. The reason why I'm up here, I mean, I think that you should vote on it, in all honesty, and let these people have their say in it. But, okay, we have District 303 school buses. We know that the school is going to take them over. But who's going to take over 108 school buses? Has anybody made a determination on how our 108 kids is going to get to school? And I have asked the mayor, probably way before Christmas, and I know she's busy, but that lettering up there, the green fluorescent lettering, I get phone calls at home because when people vote abstain, you cannot see it. Many of times, Rick or Dave have went and done abstain because of the departments that they're involved with. They abstain. People are saying they said no. I said, no, you cannot see that. That fluorescent green needs to go. Okay. It needs to be a different color, like a blue or a red or a dark color, so that people don't blame the councilman for abstaining and say, well, they said no. You know, it's not fair to you guys.
Sure.
So can we try to work on that
That's an
a
easy
little
fix.
bit, please?
Easy fix.
Easy fix. Okay. Thank you.
Hi, my name's Dawn Milam. I spoke last time. We own 23 acres on Edgewater Drive. I think our property line is maybe 75 feet from where the data center, the technological park, is going to be. And that is a huge upset to us. I don't think it's fair that 7 people get to decide what's going to happen to all of us. Because you're not going to be living in our homes. You're not going to be living our lives. And as soon as that data center comes, our property values are going to drop significantly. They have shown that in every place where there's a data center. And it's not just the one that's it's not just the ones that are close to it, but all around the city. It's going to drop. Nobody's going to want to move in next to a data center. Please, please reconsider this.
Thank you.
Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Michael Saunders, and I live in Groveland. So thank you for allowing us to come tonight and give you input. As you know, the people in Groveland, we don't really have a voice in this. We didn't elect any of you, but this is happening to us. So just to give you, my personal perspective, my wife and I moved to Groveland in 2002. We've raised all of our kids in our home. We pay a lot of taxes, but we're okay with that because Groveland is beautiful. I mean, from our backyard, you can see California Road, and you can probably see for 10 or 15 miles. The Illinois River Valley is absolutely gorgeous. The thought of a data center being built right in the middle of all of that in this beautiful place is unnerving. It's upsetting. You can imagine the wildlife that we have is incredible. I mean, we have deer and fox and eagles and, you name it, we get it. Coyotes. It's gorgeous, and that's why we love Groveland, because it's beautiful and it's quiet. And we're hoping and praying that it will stay that way. So I realize that this is the Pekin City Council, and again, I don't have a vote here. I didn't elect any of you, and you don't represent me, but the decision that you're going to make will directly impact my family and all of the people of Groveland. So please keep that in mind. Thank you.
Thank you for your input. Thank you.
Scott Hev, property manager, Creve Coeur, Illinois, affected area. I'd just like to see if, can I ask a question to the fine people here on a statement that was made about armed. The statement by the council said that that was a powerful word, but yet added that felt that the gentleman or that she was being yelled at. I'd like to ask the question, did the gentleman at any time yell, has anyone here ever yelled at this council? All right, thank you. I just wanted to make that statement clear for the record.
Thank you. Does anybody else wish to speak? Public input is over. Oh, yes. State your name.
Roger Greer, I live at 601 Brent Street, Pekin, Illinois. And 18 years of age, I joined the United States Navy. My father was in the military twice, drafted once in World War II and drafted again in the Korean War. And at 17, my son asked if I could sign papers so he could enlist in the U.S. Navy before his 18th birthday. And he proudly served in Afghanistan. So when I took the oath to defend the United States Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic, I decided I'd read that Constitution and know what I was taking an oath for. The First Amendment in the Bill of Rights, which is enshrined in the Constitution, says we have the right of freedom of speech to talk at meetings like this and tell people above us, what we really think on subjects of relevance. And so I'm thankful that I have that right. And Russia, I wouldn't have that right. China, I wouldn't have that right. And most of the world I wouldn't have the right to do what I'm doing now. But that's only because of millions of our descendants fought and died for our First Amendment right and the rest of our Bill of Rights. And then also in the First Amendment states that we have the right to petition our government, our grievances, for change. And then after that, it says we have the right to peacefully protest, to let our government know what we think. And then if our government ignores all of our First Amendment rights, like King Henry ignored all those rights to the colonists. He didn't give them freedom of speech. He didn't give them right to peacefully assemble. He didn't give them a right to even petition him. And before it was all over with, when they'd have hearings by King Henry's hearing officers, King Henry was telling them, change the location so you don't have to listen to the peasants. They changed the location at the last minute so the colonists wouldn't even be able to get to the hearing. And so I'm thankful that they didn't put up with that, because if they had, we'd still be putting it up with it now. But I truly believe, and the people don't believe me, look it up in your history, the reason the Second Amendment was written second is so if there ever came a day where our government ignored all of our First Amendment rights, we had an ability to force change upon that government like the colonists did to King Henry. And so that Second Amendment, when they wrote it, they didn't write it so we could go squirrel hunting, shoot clay pigeons. They wrote it so that we, by force, the people, could affect change if there ever was a day where our government ignored all of our First Amendment rights. And that right to bear arms does not stop at black powder muskets or the old cannons they had 250 years ago. It means when that First Amendment right is totally ignored, that we have the right to bear whatever arm is necessary, whatever arms that we can come up with to force change upon a government that operates in a tyrannical atmosphere like King Henry did against the colonists. I hope we never do see that day, but I want to, tell you what my belief is, why the Second Amendment is there, is to make sure the government never completely ignores our First Amendment. And China does not have a Second Amendment right like we do. And what does their government do to people in China? Ignore them. They have no say. Russia the same way. I recently went to Haiti. They've never had a Second Amendment right, and they're paying dearly for it. If you were a law-abiding citizen in Haiti, you were never allowed to possess a firearm legally. So now who has all the firearms? The gangs. And the gangs are running the country. There's over 12,000 armed gang members in Port-au-Prince, the capital. There's less than 5,000 police officers left in the entire country because the gangs have shot the police officers and taken their guns. So you go to a place like that and see what's going on. You come back and you appreciate that Second Amendment right your founders fought for. Because there's no way these gangs would be able to do what they were doing had there been a Second Amendment right for the Haitians right now. There's just no way. And so, to me, the Second Amendment is important because I never want to live in a day where gangs are just mowing down police officers, where police officers have to wear masks to conceal their identity because they're afraid if the gang members see them, they'll go home and rape their wives, burn their houses down, kill their children. That happens in Haiti today. The police are all that scared. I've seen it myself. They're all wearing masks. It's 85 degrees out. They don't need to wear a mask. They're wearing a mask because they're afraid of, if they're identified to the gangs, that they'll be killed. So, but in any event, I don't, am I out of time? All right, sorry.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you. Is there anyone else that would wish to speak? We can't answer. It's public input. You talk, we listen. Yeah, sure. Come on up.
Sherry Folk, I have one more thing to add. Data centers that catch on fire. Is the fire department equipped and ready to battle those type of fires? Is there special water? Is there special chemicals or equipment needed? And which fire departments would be responding? Just a thought. Thanks.
Thanks. Thank you. I don't want, I'm sorry. Thought we were done.
My name is Rex Poggioli. I've been here before. I'm a homeboy. I grew up here. The gentleman that spoke from Groveland affected me greatly. I live in Marquette Heights, and this affects me in Marquette Heights as well. There are several communities around us that are affected but have no ability to give input to you all because we're not in the city limits. Now, I truly believe that the city needs to expand. It's always good to grow. Those are elements of success. However, it needs to be thought out more thoroughly. I truly believe this is a wrong development. I think there are other alternatives. I think there's obviously due diligence that, that you've missed. And you've also been schooled from a developer's point of view that they're going to play you. They're going to play you well because that's what they do. They're there in the business to play everyone to get their way. We are not developers. We are just residents. We are aware that these games are being played upon you, but y'all are not. So please, stop playing games with these people. Say no. Give them another chance somewhere else. Thank you.
Thank you.
Misha Shablo, good luck spelling it. Well, first and last. I want to add to that, with the developer side. I believe I heard 5,000 applications across the United States for data centers. I want you to know that they're hitting hard, they're going fast, they're going to hit the weak links. They expect to be rejected. So I would hope that we are strong enough that we can be one of the rejections. They have plenty of places to go and other options. But yeah, that's how they work. And I haven't figured out or heard for sure if it's government money that they're after, like if they get they're all on their own. Okay, that's a lot of money to have to invest in that, so.
It is. Thank you. Seeing no one else coming up to the podium, public input is now closed. I will let you know if you would like to leave, you're more than welcome to leave.
Before you leave, I owe an apology to Mr. Hanson. He wasn't yelling, but I felt like I was being yelled at. And it just, I didn't mean to accuse him unjustly.
I'll just say that, being from New York, people always think I'm yelling at them. I say good morning and people go, what the hell's wrong with that guy? So no yelling intended.
Thanks.
No yelling acknowledged.
So what I'd like to say is if you don't feel like you want to stay for the rest of the meeting, don't feel like you need to stay, you're more than welcome to, though. Also, there are these Pekin Technology Park papers out there. I encourage you to pick one up if you'd like to. It just gives the timeline that the city is looking at. Okay, that's all it is. You're welcome. Thank you. Thank you. Council, I am looking for, I would be seeking a motion for the consent agenda.
Thank you, Madam Mayor Pro Tem.
Short straw.
Sue, thank you for the consent agenda tonight. So 7.1, I move that the following items on the consent agenda be approved. 7.1, accounts payable paid proof list through February 2nd, 2026. 7.2, receive and file fiscal year 25-26 budget transfers through February 2nd, 2026. 7.3, receive and file building department permit report for January 2026. 7.4, receive and file proposals for the sale or lease and development of city-owned property at Broadway Street and 3rd Street. 7.5, receive and file bid results for the 2025 Pekin Airport fuel tank removal project. 7.6, resolution number 38025/26, approving and placing on file the annual financial report, AFR, for fiscal year ended April 30th, 2023. 7.7, resolution number 38125/26, rejecting all proposals for the purchase or lease of city-owned property at Broadway Street and 3rd Street. 7.8, receive and file resignation of Earl Riley from the Economic Development Advisory Committee with regret and appreciation for his service. 7.9, resolution number 382-25/26, appointment of Ron Harlan to the Economic Development Advisory Committee to fill the unexpired term of Earl Riley, expiring May 4th, 2026. Thank you.
Second.
Thank you.
You forgot
Thank
to
you.
breathe.
Thank you, Mr. Nutter, for the motion, and thank you, Ms. Phillips, for the second. Any questions, comments, concerns? If not, do you have any concerns? Okay. Take your vote. Six zero. We now go down to new business. I would be looking for a motion for 8.1.
Madam Mayor Pro Tem, I move resolution number 383-25/26, awarding bid for City of Pekin Municipal Airport fuel tank removal to RCA Incorporated DBA Earth Services be approved.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Abel, for your motion, and Ms. Phillips for your second. Questions, comments? Oh, I'm sorry, I probably want to go to Mr. Dossi.
Thank you. As part of the airport fuel system replacement project, the city issued a request for proposals for the required removal of the 2 underground aviation fuel storage tanks and associated piping at Pekin Municipal Airport. Removal of the existing tanks is necessary to facilitate installation of the new above-ground fuel tanks. To encourage more competitive pricing, the fuel tank removal scope was separated from the installation contract. The resulting bid award meets the objective and is below the engineer's estimated cost for tank removal. I do have Simon and Mike Cruz, airport manager, available for any questions or comments.
Thank you. Does anybody have any questions, comments, concerns? Mr. Hills.
So my first question is in regard to the bids. So on this bid that we're being asked to approve, it shows there's an insurance policy on here with a $5,000 deductible for soil contamination. And I'm just trying to understand, is that just for this bidder? Or is that something that all 4 bidders had an opportunity to be a part of?
That's, all 3 of the 4 bidders submitted that they would use the LUST fund. That's the Leaking Underground Storage Tank fund that the EPA has. The airport does qualify for that. So any contaminated soil, if it is found, we would pay the deductible of $5,000, and then the rest of the costs up to the approved limits are approved. The EPA covers those costs. We submit Greenwave would submit all the paperwork to the EPA to get that covered, and Earth Services will do all that work for the cost of the deductible, and then they do the work for the cost of just the the EPA's costs, prices, if you would say.
So what piques my interest on that is because this low bid just has a base bid. It doesn't have a separate bid for soil contamination.
Correct.
But a couple of the other ones do. If they're also using this insurance policy, why did they have such a large number in there for the second part of that
So if-
bid for soil contamination?
So in the contract, if you looked at the contract that Earth Services gave, it states in there that they would use the Lust Fund, and then they would do the, I believe it's, I'm not sure which section it's on, but I did ask them about it, that that's what they utilize, and that's what they did at Kiwanee Airport. Our airport engineers worked with this company before, and they said that everything went really smooth with all that. They handle all the paperwork. We're just responsible for that deductible if there is contaminated soil found. But we don't know until we uncover the tanks, dig down the sides of them, and they actually pull the tanks out, and then they test the soil underneath. And if there's contaminated soil found, we actually have to send a sample off, wait for the lab before they can close the hole back in. And then if there is soil found to be contaminated, then they would come in and excavate it according to the rules that they have to follow. So they handle all that work for us.
So if they theoretically dig down in there and they find some soil contamination and it needs to be remediated and it's above $5,000, the city has to pay all that up front and then we get reimbursed later from the state?
They, Greenwave handles it, they do the work, and then they submit all the paperwork, and they wait for payment from the state.
They wait for the
They
payment?
wait for the payment
So
from the
there'd
state.
be no extra money coming out of
Correct.
the city's pocket other than that $5,000 deductible?
That's my understanding of it, correct.
Okay. Thank you, that's all I have.
Any other questions?
So on my piece of paper, I've got the airport engineer's estimate. There's no estimate. So the estimate was zero?
It was 45,000.
45,000?
Yep.
Okay. Well, we finally got something that was under the estimate. That's good.
And that's why we separated it, to make sure that
Okay, do you have
had a chance.
Not for this. Okay, I think we've answered that. Take your vote. Council, I'd be looking for a motion for 8.2.
Madam Mayor Pro Tem, I move that ordinance number 4372-25/26, approving a lease agreement with Pekin Community High School District 303 for school bus operations at the city-owned property at 1130 Cook Street be approved.
Thank you, Mr. Fletcher, for the motion, and second, Mr. Abel. I will go with Mr. Dossi.
Thank you. Just as a reminder, on June of last year, City Council approved Resolution 31025/26, which is the official notice to the various school districts, 303, 108, and the others, that the city was no longer to be providing school bus transportation services effective at the end of this current contract, which ends June 30th of 2026. We have been working with Pekin Community High School District 303 on the transition for them to take over busing for their own transportation needs. This action provides for District 303 to lease the current bus department office space at bus parking area at 1130 Cook Street. Summary of the terms are the city will lease the current bus department space to District 303 for exclusive use. The initial term will be 3 years, starting July 1st, 2026. District 303 has the option to extend the lease for up to 2 years. The District 303 will pay the city $95,000 annually with an increase equal to the CPIU in years 2 and 3 and a 5% for any extension years. City is responsible for maintenance of the building, fuel pumps, tanks, and snow removal, and District 303 is responsible for janitorial services, security, and disposal of waste provided, District 303 may contract janitorial services and waste removal with the city at $50 per hour. The city will provide security badges managed by the police department. District 303 will bring and install their own technology. Utilities are split based on usage. The city will sell any current bus radios to District 303 for $1 each, and District 303 will be responsible for all operating costs for radio needs. Fuel and vehicle parts will be supplied by the city at a cost plus 5%. Vehicle maintenance will be provided by the city at a cost of $60 per hour for a mechanic or $75 per hour for the fleet foreman. And the city may terminate the lease upon 60 days' notice to District 303. And while this all includes an exclusivity provision, it also clears that the city may allow other entities, such as District 108, to utilize the property for our vehicle maintenance services and fueling. The exclusivity is primarily for the bus parking and use of the office space. Staff is in discussion with District 108 on another option for their transitional needs, and we feel we have an amicable solution that will be brought to the City Council for final action at the next meeting. District 303's administration believes the attached lease agreement is in form that will be approved by its board. Staff is recommending approval of this ordinance. And just as a reminder, approval requires 6 affirmative votes of the City Council per the City Code. And Josh kind of picked the ball up and ran with this with all the personal issues I've had ongoing, so he's available to answer some of the questions I might not have answers to.
Council?
Need a clarification, Mr. Vasselli. 6 votes needed out of the elected council or the present council? The elected. So 7, so. No, that's not the question, is
6 out of 7.
you have to have 6 out of 7? Oh, well. Just wanted to clarify that.
So I think what he's asking is, since we've got somebody absent, now we've only got 6 people here, now does it only require 5 votes?
No, you need to vote from the full 5. So all 6 of you would have to vote in the affirmative by the hypothetical to get it passed.
Does anybody want to vote no?
Yeah.
All right.
Explain why.
Explain why. I'd like to hear it.
That's why I wanted to clarify, is it present or the total 7? Okay, just wanted to make sure, because it doesn't come up very often. That's, so. I'll start out. So the city lease the bus department space for exclusive use. Does that mean nobody else can use that property, that building?
No, the agreement specifically clarifies that the city would continue to use it for the telecommunications center as well as public works operations as we have been. Basically, it would preclude us from leasing out the bus department space to, say, 108 or a First Student or any other entity. They didn't want to have to share office space, is essentially what it came down to, or parking space.
So here's my question. What about a polling place? Is that in there? Because that's a polling place.
Sure. I mean, we can add that language pretty easily if you want to make that amendment.
Okay. $95,000 annually to lease the property. How do we come up with that number?
Yeah,
And
so
that
that's
same- I
go
got a
ahead.
two-pointer in that bullet. So we want to do a CPI-U in years 2 and 3 and 5% for extension. Why not just 5 across the board? So the first part is,
Yeah.
how'd you come up with 95? And based on what? And,
Yeah, so the 95 is a combination of two numbers, the first being for the office space. So for the office space, we looked at other office space available in, I think, the larger Peoria market, not just Pekin. So generally in Peoria, found an average, multiplied it by the square footage, and got that number. The second part of that, which I believe, out of the 95, I believe the parking area, which is the second part, accounted for, let me just find it. But basically, what we did is looked at, okay, a bus is of this size, that would require this amount of parking space. you look for that amount of outdoor storage space on the market, this is what it costs. We realize that we're not going to provide the same amenities necessarily that they would have, the lot's not in great shape, all that kind of stuff, and kind of rounded down to be basically at the lower end of the market for parking space. I've got the numbers here somewhere. I don't
No,
know
that's
that-
fine. I just need to know where you come up with the 95,000.
Sure.
And the other, when you brought up buses, do we know how many buses for the high school they're going to actually have? Is it
think they-
reduced or
I think they told us for them it'd be about 30.
Yeah, that's
30 for the high
somewhere in
school?
the 30s.
Yeah, and then 108 would be something like 50, but that's, a different topic. The reason that, CPI versus 5%, that was just a negotiated term. We started out at, 10% for the parts and fuel above cost, and, they, of course, wanted no markup. We met in the middle. I don't remember specifically discussing CPI, except I think we just started with assuming CPI for all years, and then everybody at the table kind of said, well, 3 years from now, we don't know if CPI is going to be 12% or negative 2%, so let's just call it 5 that far out in the future.
I'd like to see it a constant number versus a CPI, but that's me personally. So some of the numbers that are on there for the maintenance of the vehicles. $60 an hour, and I'm going to refer to my friendly council member, Mr. Fletcher, as a mechanic, high, low, medium, and that's just an hourly rate. That doesn't count benefits?
No, they would pay us a flat $60 an hour, and then that would be revenue into that fund. So it doesn't account for, it's not like they're paying the mechanic $60 an hour for their time. They're paying the city $60 an hour for the use of the mechanic, our overhead, all those kinds of things.
How much an hour, Jake?
I mean, I guess I would need to know how much a mechanic makes, including his benefits per hour, before you could really say that. But, I mean, I wouldn't want that figure to be below it, obviously.
It's like $42 an hour for the lead, 29 to 35 for the others. 60 fair?
That's close, I'll say that.
Okay.
Dealership rate's 125-ish right now.
Okay.
I don't expect to make money on the bus department, but I sure as heck don't want to lose money on it.
Sure. The last concern, then I'll turn it over to a couple others, that $1 each for the radios we just bought.
Well, they've already been bought by the taxpayers. And we rationalized back and forth on those. That the taxpayers paid for them now. We have no use for them. It's only going to be worth what somebody's willing to pay for them. And if they go back out to the same taxing body, which is the school district now, we just felt like they would go right into the buses and be used. They're still good. They still have airtime. They're going to transfer the airtime over to them. It only made sense not to.
So, and also the
Forward again.
technology that goes with the radios? Is there technology that goes with that, or is it just radios?
It's just the radios and whatever airtime. It's
Okay.
I think is it Verizon? I don't know if it's Verizon or who it's through.
Last is, has this gone to the school board for approval or gone to the superintendent of the high school for
So-
approval?
No, so their meeting is in 2 weeks. Their last meeting, last month, they did consider this, and they asked for a couple of very minor changes. I mean, like, they wanted this word taken out of whatever, and so we accommodated those. And so therefore, the superintendent said that with those 3 changes, they thought that the board would approve it, no problem.
So those are in here?
Yes.
In the current?
Yes, and I could tell you what those are if you
That's-
like.
They were very minor changes.
Yeah.
That's all I have, Mayor Pro Tem.
Okay. Mr. Hilst?
Yes, thank you. So Dave already hit on a couple things that I was going to bring up, but I'll go back to the lease agreement. So how was it determined that that was going to be a 3-year contract?
I'll let Josh fill in where I leave out on it, but our ultimate goal is we're partnering with them to allow them the transition. They believe that within the 3 years that they would be able to transition out and have their own facility, if that's so to speak. If you think lead time, wherever they're gonna find the property, if it's on their current existing property, by the time they build everything out, that could be 18 months, just to build that out, depending on what all they need to do. So they were anticipating it would take 3 years.
Okay, what about a triple net lease? Why didn't we entertain a triple net lease?
I mean, it's pretty close to a triple net lease, we just didn't call it that, right? They're responsible for all their own utilities. There are no property taxes to be considered in this one. The only thing I guess that you could say that we're technically paying on their behalf is our cost to plow the snow, which we need to do anyway, for our use of the property. So it's pretty close to a triple net lease.
So that plowing of the snow won't just be the parking lot, it'll be all the sidewalks and everything up around the building too?
Yeah, I mean, I don't exactly know what we do right now, but yeah, I mean, plowing it so that it's accessible for employees to get in and out.
Well, I'm not as concerned about what we're doing right now, I'm more concerned about what we're gonna do under this contract. I'm sure we do it now because we're the ones that are down there running the bus service. So since you brought up the utility bills, do we have separate meters down there at that building for all the separate utilities? How are you gonna determine how much usage they're using on those utilities?
I did know that was gonna be a question, and I asked, and now I gotta find the answer. So there are separate, which one of them has separate meters? I can't remember if it's electric or water, but there are multiple meters for one of the two. Yeah, just give me a minute, I'll look through my email.
Well, while we're talking about that, will they be required to put any of those utility bills in their name? Or are they all gonna still come to the city?
Do you know how we split those out now? Do you know how we split the utility bills out now? Rick, I'm gonna have to look. I have to look, see how they, because we got TC3 down there in the mix too, so I gotta look and see how they're
Okay.
split out.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, short answer, we do split them now, right, between the bus fund, vehicle maintenance fund, and TC3. I'm just trying to get you the exact detail on, like, mechanically, how do we do that? But they do end up in separate buckets already right now.
Okay, so under fuel costs, that we're gonna supply the fuel for all the buses down there plus 5%, how did we arrive at that 5% over cost percentage?
It's just a negotiation. We started with cost plus 10%. We've got overhead, we got to maintain fuel tanks. They kind of argued, well, maybe we can get our own fuel, and, that didn't go very far.
Okay, and I appreciate that, but that's one of the things I struggle with this whole entire lease agreement, because in the past, for a lot of other things that have been brought to the council, when they entailed a lease or a purchase or a sale, anything that had a price attached to it that we were gonna be charging or paying for, we've always had those discussions with the council to kind of, negotiate. This is the first I've seen of any of this when it came out on the agenda for this meeting. I understand staff's been negotiating a lot of this, but the council hasn't had any say-so in it. And we're the ones sitting here being asked to approve all this. So just because there was a negotiation, there was an agreement on this 5%, doesn't mean I have a different opinion on that. Just because there was an agreement for $95,000 a year, doesn't mean I have a different opinion on that. I'll go back to the radios that Dave just brought up. That's another one I really struggled with, because the way the contract was currently written with both school districts, the amount of money that they paid us to provide transportation for these schools and the kids was supposed to be all-inclusive. Whatever the cost or expense included in the transporting of these kids to and from school was all included in those contracts. And then 4 or 5 months after those contracts are agreed on, we get an agenda item to purchase a bunch of new radios. And the question gets brought up, why weren't the radios already in the contract? That's an expense that we need in these buses as a safety issue, we were told, but it wasn't included in the contracts for the schools. So that was an extra, however much money those were, that we had to pay on top of that. So technically, in my opinion, the schools should have been paying for those radios to begin with. And now we're gonna turn around and basically just give them to them. So I struggle with that one too. I struggle with the fact that we're gonna use city mechanics to work on vehicles that do not belong to the city. That one I have a problem with also. That's just not how I visioned all this when we said we were gonna get out of the bus service, but yet we're still supplying services. We're still supplying fuel, excuse me. We're still possibly supplying parts for the buses. And then all the services, and it says in there that the buses will take priority over city vehicles because of the, fact that they're being used to transport kids to and from school. So they will be the highest priority when it comes to vehicles that get worked on first. It talks about maintenance, and then it throws janitorial services and garbage in there. And then it says the city could possibly provide that service to the schools too. So now we're going to use city employees for janitorial services. It's like we're not getting out of it. The school's just using all of our resources so that they don't have to go out and find their own. And there's just a lot about this that.
Mr. Hilst, if I may, and respectfully, we made the decision, you council made the decision that we were getting out of the bus business. We provided them notice. We had to provide them the notice in a timely fashion because you just don't go out and start up a bus service over summer break. So we've been sitting down and having the conversations, how can we do this with having the least impact on the city and on the school district? Because they're not going to go out and find property, build a facility, and do that. So we tried to work with them as partners, as they've been with the city for several years, and we've tried to work with them to help with the transition. Now, in a perfect world, we could get through 1 year and they can get their facility built or however they determine to do it. But we felt, knowing that building a facility could take 18 months to 2 years, to give them that opportunity to plan that, because we kind of dumped it on them that, hey, come the end of this contract, we're moving away from the bus business. You guys have to figure out how you're going to do this. But in the same time, they're also learning how to operate and run a bus department. They also have to hire, they have to figure out their labor relations and all these things. So we felt, from a city's perspective, we will help with that transition. You can still use our facilities, because right now I don't have immediate plans for them. Go ahead and use our facilities and we'll transition that. If it's, 6 months, a year, 18 months, 2 years, 3 years, we will help facilitate that. I hope it's sooner. We've had that conversation with them, that we would like it to be sooner. We would like to have our facility back to use it, because we do have another potential opportunity sitting there for the use of that facility. But in the meantime, we have to make these decisions in the moment, and they're not quick fixes. They're not quick whatever with this. The radios, yeah, we bought the radios. The school probably has. They've paid us good money over time. How to break that down, I don't know, because they paid X amount of dollars a year. I don't know how the calculations went into that. We brought everything into it. We tried to keep it in line with how we did with GFL and everything, because CPI seems to be important, and we added the CPI into that mix. We had it high. They came in low. We figured 5% was fair and standard in what we were seeing. So we felt that what we brought to you tonight is fair. We feel it's fair to the taxpayers. We feel it's fair to the school district to try to be the good partner with them, because we'd been doing this for a long time, and then we decide we're not going to do it anymore. We gave them as much advance notice as we could. You have bus leases. You have a lot of components that go into this. It's not just, we're done, here you go. we have to work into that, and we have to give them the opportunity to be able to run it as efficiently and effectively as we have. And they're learning it. They haven't done it, so they're learning it. And that's what this is about, and that's why you see some of these things, is trying to be fair and work with them. We hope it's sooner than later, but we felt giving them up to that 3-year option would hopefully give them time to plan and build that facility. And from our conversations, that is their intention. It could be sooner than 3 years. We figure that's just the worst-case scenario.
Well, and you also have the other school district going through the same process.
Correct. And we're waiting for them to make some decisions, because their decision is they're going to outsource it, and we are waiting for them to do their bid opening so we have the information and we can finish working with them on that.
So it also says, security. School is responsible for janitorial services, security, and disposal of waste. What does it mean when it says security?
I think they brought up, would they have the ability to install their own security cameras? And, we just thought that'd be a reasonable thing. They want to.
Because it also talks in a different line item about security again, but that's about the badges, I'm assuming, to get in and out of the gate, to get in and out of the property.
Right.
So every single bus driver, employee, that'll all be, they'll just all be given a badge, and then if for some reason they quit or don't drive a bus anymore, that automatically gets invalidated to where they can't use it anymore? How's all that work?
Yep, just like it does now. We have the control of the property and the security of the property as far as access control. Police department would have the access to shut badges off at any time. They would just make the notification, and that would come from Saskia, and she's already doing that as it is.
Okay. All right. I won't talk any longer. Thank you.
May I? Is this something we need to vote on tonight?
I think they are planning to take it to their board, so.
Every delay is a delay.
Yeah, I mean, we've been working on this for some time, and
So understanding that we all have to unanimously say yes. If it's voted down tonight, then it comes up again at the next meeting?
Yeah, we can bring it back up. On Robert's Rules of Procedure, we can bring it back up. The permutation is
So.
Well, the fact of the matter is, Well, the fact of the matter is, we have to pass it one way or another, somehow. It's got to be passed, because we are not doing the buses next year.
well, and I guess would want to know what it is that you want to see specifically in the contract language that's not already addressed.
Well, I'll start out.
Yeah, I think
Go
you
ahead.
should go, I think you should go ahead and tell them what you'd like to see in it, and maybe we could get it hashed out before we have to come back and do this in 2 weeks.
All right, I'll start. I don't like the CPI issue. I wanted a percentage across the board. That's number one. Exclusive use, I'd like to see that removed. I don't think it ought to be exclusive, because let's say, just hear me out.
I just want, if I could throw one thing in there for you. Schools are different when you're dealing with minors, and you also have HIPAA, you have other special need things that are in there. That's why they're asking for their exclusivity, so that that information is specific to them, and there's not another school entity or somebody in there that compromises that.
Like 108?
Correct.
So we already-
Keeping 108's records separate from 303's records, if that
Don't
makes
we
sense.
already do that? Or shouldn't we already be doing that?
They're all city records right now.
They're all city records.
that's-
So
and
now
that's-
we're going to convert that from city records to school district records, which falls under a different category.
Which is.
Sure.
Yeah, which is part of the reason why this is a good idea, that we get away from doing the busing, because,
Altogether.
yes, because that was creating those issues that had been identified involving the minors in the HIPAA and all those concerns with things, because the schools kind of function under a set of rules that are specific to the schools. And the city, and I'm talking about like FOIA and things of that nature, when they come in and request for video and the redacting and all those things, that wasn't necessarily how it was being done, and we had to put some safety measures in place with that, because that wasn't something that was being done in the past. So now if it's in the school's hands, they're separate, it's on them and not the city. We
The
have
FOIAs,
nothing.
for any FOIAs?
Any of that information that gets requested, the city no longer has their hands in it, if that makes sense.
So I'm glad you brought
And the
that up.
school
That's an unknown that we didn't know about.
Right.
So is there a time frame that has to be done prior to school starting next year? That you got 2 months, 3 months to make that transition from us to them, so to speak?
At the end of our contract, the transition takes place.
So it's automatic
They're-
on
they're
what, the
already
30th?
They're already working on setting up their own records management and everything else. So when they come in, that's why they want to install their own computer system, if that makes sense, because then it's stored on their school district servers.
On their servers on our property, correct?
No.
No. Their servers offline, or off our
Wherever
property?
their server rooms. at.
Wherever,
Yeah, where, if it's, I'm assuming 303 is in the high school somewhere.
in that data center.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I don't specifically like the 3-year term. I think we've talked to them, and you guys have been discussing it at least for a year, maybe 18 months. I think after 18 months and another 3 years, there ought to be a plan in place to do something. That's that one.
Could we give them a 2-year with an option for
I-
a third year? How would you
I
feel
would
about
go,
that?
that's where I was going to go, start with 2, and then look at the third
An
and see
option.
where they're at with an option.
I agree with
But you
that.
have a 1 year with 2 1-year options,
Oh,
because right, Josh?
No, it's a 3-year term with 2 additional 1-year options right now.
So it would be, if you total it all up, it'd be 5 years.
Okay.
I know,
How
Bob's
about
not
two-
here.
How about 2
Two-
years
two
with
and
a
a
1
one.
year?
I know, that's what I was going to say, and Bob's convinced me of that. I guess I'd like to have an answer. Is the school district going to do janitorial? Because there's 2 options in there. City does it or the school district.
Yeah, I mean, it's in there. If they decide that they want us to do it, then they just have to pay us for it, basically. But if you're saying you want that figured out before we sign an agreement,
Well, are we going to have to add a body?
Somebody's already doing it, aren't they?
You're going to have to add a person.
No, it's
No?
the current workload that we're doing right now.
But
So
correct me if I'm wrong, don't the bus drivers or monitors do it now?
not the janitorial for the building, no.
Union.
Yeah, I know,
but.
They clean their buses and whatnot, but the actual facility itself is cleaned by our janitors.
Under public property.
Correct.
Okay? But if they decide, if the school district decides to do it, then that person wouldn't be, oh, yes, we would, because they got it, don't they do TC3 or do the,
I
that-
have to check with TC3. I don't know if we're still doing that or not, because we were going to bill them, and I think they were looking at doing it on their own, so I'm not sure. I have to follow up on that.
one of the other ones I've got in there is parts inventory. Do we have a parts inventory list of all the surplus bus parts? Now, I was trying to get the parts, including tires, rims, et cetera, and what the cost was when we bought it 2 years ago, 6 months ago, a day ago, because my understanding is when we buy some of that from, and I'm going to throw out Napa, I don't know if that's 100%, does the city have a contract with Napa at a reduced cost? And does that reduced cost come into play when we do the 5% upload?
Sure. So we do have a discount that we get from several
Several, yeah.
stores around town. I can get a list of parts that we have in stock. I will say, we generally keep a minimal amount of stockage parts. And it's more just a purchase as necessary, but I can get a list pulled together and
So like
total cost.
fuses, bulbs, et cetera, et cetera.
Probably oil filter,
Oh,
just that type of thing.
Yeah, oil, whatever. So now, the school district is going to be responsible for ordering those parts? Or are we going to order them, back charge them?
So I believe as the contract's currently written, we would still do that process if they're using our mechanics. So as a bus comes in and our mechanics review it, they would order the prices, but those would have a surcharge on them as they are charged to the school district.
So I'll go back to my original question. Do you have an inventory of all the parts?
That we have on hand currently?
Yes.
I don't have it with me, but yes, we have an inventory of those.
Okay. Because parts bought 4 years ago and parts bought today aren't going to be the same.
For sure,
So-
absolutely, yeah.
Utilities concern me. How are we going to split it, as Councilmember Hill said?
Yeah, so
That's,
the electric already does have its own account numbers, so I don't know if it would make more sense. I don't know exactly how the accounts are set up in an online system, through our finance department, if it would make more sense to actually have them transferred, or if we'll just, bill it through. So electric is already separate, and then water, we manually separate that through the finance department. There is only one water meter, I believe, so that's, separated. TC3s is separated in one way, one allocation method, and then between VMF and bus, I believe we had split it 50/50, basically based on head count, right, number of people in the office or so, but I'll check on that too.
Okay. I'm concerned about the rate we're charging on the vehicle maintenance.
Too high or too
I think
low?
Too low. Concerns me that they will take priority. And
Yeah,
I
so-
don't know about that one. That one's a iffy one.
So
I'll
to
just use our
clarify-
friends, the fire department.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
it's a clarification. I think you're misunderstanding what priority is.
I mean, so they asked for this language to be put in, we didn't think it was a problem, so it says, given the critical nature of school transportation operations, the city agrees to prioritize maintenance requests in a manner that supports uninterrupted pupil transportation services, and then it talks about routine maintenance. So it doesn't say that just because they bring in a bus, that we're gonna stop working on a fire truck. It just means that when they bring in a bus and they say, we need this bus working within 3 days because we got whatever, like that we will continue as we have been to make sure there's enough buses to deliver kids to school. It doesn't, and I talked about this with them, it does not
Okay.
mean that just because they bring in 6 buses that we're gonna stop working on all the other city vehicles.
Language clarification, basically. So, okay.
But they required for that language to be in there, right?
They asked for it, and we
Right.
agreed.
So there was a reason for that.
Well, yeah, because they don't want us to not work on any buses and only work on our vehicles, if they bring one in.
Well, I did the numbers on the percentage of hours spent. 30% of vehicle maintenance is the bus department.
Sure.
30%.
100 buses or so, whatever.
That's a lot of hours.
It's a lot of most of our fleet.
You're taking the 100 and some buses, that now you reduce that down to 30 some.
Plus 103 maybe. We don't know what that's going to be.
108 is.
Or 108, 3. I get the numbers
We don't
mixed up.
know, we can't talk about 108 at this point in time, because if they outsource, their people they outsource with might.
They might
run
do
their
all
own
the,
buses.
they may do it all. Correct.
Yeah, so, right now, we just have to remember we're focusing on 303.
I
with that.
understand that, but also look to the future too. They
that?
might, I also look to the future because maybe they see this as such a great deal. Why would I go and do something else if I'm going to get charged
They've
whatever?
both been told that our ultimate goal is that within the end of, by the end of this, if not sooner, we're done completely.
And-
That's part of the
and
conversation.
You'll notice we have a cancellation clause.
Yay, thank you. Any impact on the finance department, doing billing, receivables, or anything over and above or different than what we've got? Because that's just overhead for us?
If we're examining this, that might be something to
consider as well, a small portion of that, see what we get.
Cost allocation.
You got it.
Okay, that's all I have.
Madam Mayor Pro Tem, that's a little mouthful. I would like to move that we table this and give our fellow members here a chance to work out the details, and if we need to renegotiate something, it's going to take 6 of us to pass it. Till the 23rd.
I'll second.
Is the 23rd doable?
Yeah, I mean, we need to know what information.
I will gladly come in and sit down.
I think that's the appropriate thing at this point. And it might have something to do, I'm sorry, but I would really need a potty break. So could we take a break or do the business, I'm
We're
sorry.
going to hold this over. We are just
We gotta
down to, is there any other business to come?
We have to vote.
Oh,
We have to
I-
vote. We have to vote on the
I
motion.
seconded.
Apologize.
Yeah, I rushed
Seconded by
right
Mr.
there. So
Fletcher.
we're voting on my motion to table.
Yes.
Right.
Motion Phillips, second Fletcher.
Yes.
Yeah.
Take your vote.
I got a second, I was happy.
Yeah.
6-0, motion passes. Tabled until February 23rd. And now we are at 9, any other business to come before the council? Do we have to, we don't have to vote on the other thing?
No.
Since we tabled it?
No, we do not need to vote on it. And so just to recap, in 8-1, it did pass. 8-2 was tabled until 2/23.
Right.
I apologize for rushing this. I want to take my little minute to say something, and then I want to take a break while the rest of the council
Sure.
has their moments
Feel
and
free.
the staff. I really, really genuinely appreciate the civic involvement and the quality of the people that have come and talked to us. And this work, this is great. And I am proud of everyone who's been here. You are exactly the citizens that we need, right? We need people who will come and do the groundwork and the hard work. And the council, your voice is important to us. And so what I'm going to say next, I am not, doesn't have anything to do with anybody in this room. I would encourage people to think twice about what they post on social media. And just remind that there's a lot of baseless accusations of corruption. And there were, people talk about the members of the council as if we're from somewhere else. And I wanted to remind everyone that we're your neighbors. We're not people who spend 4 months in DC who need to be reminded that we live here. We live with the consequences. And I understand it's not only the local consequences, we live with the broader community consequences. We know it's not just about us. And as someone who spends, hello. As someone who spends the majority of her life in the southwest corner of Pekin, I know for certain that an odor can be environmentally non-hazardous and still be very unpleasant. And it does not respect boundaries. So just want you to know, I do understand what you're saying. And we're going to continue getting these facts as they come in. And thank you all again. Thank you all.
You're quite fine. Mr. Hilst?
I just got,
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Anybody in the city have anything they'd like to share? I apologize. Didn't mean to.
Mayor Pro Temp, just one quick announcement. So starting 2 March, for recycling pickup, we will transition to an every other week
Okay.
schedule for that, for
Okay.
the residents. We're currently distributing that via flyers. We'll have the updated map online as well.
Perfect.
And then we'll push it out via Facebook announcement,
That's
just make
what I
sure.
was just going to ask you if
Yeah.
you were going to have it
Every-
online, so
right.
people can look it up.
Just so
Wonderful.
everyone's tracking and we're aware.
Thank you.
Just a question on
Yeah.
that. What's the cost savings on that?
Yeah.
We weren't provided any information at all on this.
So the reason we're going to it is we had a shift in personnel, one street department worker left, and we put out applications, but we had one of our or solid waste drivers move over to backfill that street department location. So we're going to leave that vacant. And for the overall cost reduction, so that, if you look at salary benefits, it's about 3% of the total expense for solid waste, trash, and recycling. It's all one bill. The unknown, however, is the tipping fees. So we could assume that if everyone recycles the same amount, tipping fees won't really change. However, if there is a reduction, we could see some potential savings there.
Right.
So I owe more to you on if there is the potential to reduce. Yeah.
Figured you did some kind of study maybe on wear and tear on vehicles and all that type of thing. You're
Yeah.
only using it once instead of twice, or you know what I'm saying?
Right. So,
Okay,
yeah.
I just would like some info on that's all.
Okay.
Thank you.
And for residential concerns, we will be offering 96-gallon recycling totes, so the full size, to help accommodate that change.
Anyone else?
Yeah, Madam Mayor Pro Tem, just wanted to make sure it was announced that on Tuesday, February 24th, the city staff, like your feedback, but what the city staff is planning a town hall at the Pekin Library and the community room to present to the public what the city's general development process is. We still do not have hardly any new information about the data center development. However, that doesn't mean we can't help inform the public about how this process is going to work and where we stand in it, which is very early right now.
Excellent. So people mark your calendars for February 24th at
Oh boy, 6 p.m.
6 p.m.
At the
at the
public
Pekin Library.
That is a scheduled meeting.
Not yet, but assuming that we have interest from council members in attending, then yeah, we would post it as a meeting.
I won't be there.
And then March 24th is the planned.
March 24th
town
is
hall,
yes, at the
in
FM
particular
Peterson
to
Theater.
just the data center topic, so everybody can be heard. We're hoping to have more information, but there's no promises or guarantees. But that will be at the high school, and that starts at 6:30 PM, and that'll
Okay.
be, I believe, in the auditorium.
Thank you.
What's that?
I have just one other question for Simon. So these larger totes that will be available to the public, will there be a trade-in for their smaller ones? Will there be an additional cost to the public?
So the cost would be $60, which is the same price for a 96-gallon waste container.
If they want the larger one, they're going to pay $60?
Correct.
And if they don't, they can keep what they've got? and
Correct.
Go with that?
Yep.
All right, thank you.
And just as a clarification on March 24th, and so not to confuse everybody, 6:30, we could start setting up and let everybody in, and at 7 o'clock is actually when I believe we're going to start the town hall.
7
So,
p.m.
yeah.
on February 24th
Correct.
at the Pekin Library.
No, on March 24th.
Yeah,
March
yeah,
24th.
we're announcing 2 town halls.
Okay,
Yeah, we're
and they're
announcing
both on the
two.
24th. Yes, March 24th is at FM Peterson Theater, 7 p.m. Be there, be square.
And just a reminder, starting tomorrow, I'll be out probably for at least the rest of this week. I anticipate being back, but I do, shoot me a message and I will contact you if able. But just to make everybody aware, I
Okay,
will be unavailable starting
prayers sent to you.
early mornings, so.
All right, anyone else? Mr. Hilst, you are up.
Okay, so what I was going to ask about was the recycling. So a couple of those questions have already been answered, but,
Rained on his parade.
so, who made that final decision? Was that you, Simon, that made that decision to do that?
Yes.
Okay, because I'm sure once folks out in the community realize this is going on, we're gonna be the ones to get the call on that. But totes, so you're gonna allow people to use the 96-gallon totes, so they're not gonna be required to have the red lid on them?
No, we are purchasing new totes that are 96-gallon side with the red lid on them.
Okay, so we're
Yep.
gonna purchase some new ones
Yep.
that have a red lid on them?
Correct.
Okay. So then are we gonna have to do some sort of an amendment to our city code? Since our city code, from what our solid waste ordinance is that we've approved previously, states that you cannot use anything above 64 gallons, and states that recycle will be picked up every week?
Yeah, we'll push in for the amendment for the city code on that.
Okay, and one other question, since we've got an RFP out for solid waste currently, and I believe it states in there, anybody bidding on that is bidding on picking up recycle every week. So how's that gonna work out? That's gonna kind of skew those bids a little bit, isn't it?
Yeah, and we had some questions come back on the RFP as to whether it'd be acceptable for an every other week quote, which is kind of the standard practice with the corporations that do it, and we responded with yes. However, we would like to see both, right? So an every week plus every other week.
Okay, and a question as far as the service itself goes. How's this gonna work out with the union contracts? If they're only picking up every other week, those, I assume, would turn into part-time jobs, correct? If they're only running a recycle?
No, because we're reducing one head count, essentially, you're gonna have that one recycle driver working every week, but they won't be able to hit the whole city.
Okay.
So they'll still be working every week, but we just
A
have
couple
to.
districts one week and a couple the next?
Correct,
And then
yep.
just flip-flop back and forth? Okay.
Yes, yep.
Okay, I believe that's all I have for now. Thank you.
Mr. Netter?
Wow, every other week recycling. I don't think I've ever heard that before. But thank you, Simon, for finally getting that off dead center and moving it. So as everybody's talking, I got a question about the containers. So if you have a small container and you go to every other week, I fill it, I don't, but somebody fills it up every week. Now you go to the second week, I want a bigger container.
Right.
Can you trade in my small one and get a big one for no charge?
We had not looked at that, no.
John, no.
It may be worth looking at, maybe it's not worth, I don't know. But some people, and I know a lot of people that fill that container up every week because they have Amazon deliveries 2 or 3 times a day, Mr. Dawsey. So just
Yeah,
consider
we'll
that
look
down
at
the
it,
road.
And that's, that we want to provide the option, because some
Yes.
people do not fill it up every week. And so we'll continue to accept the current recycling receptacles that are out there. But we did want to provide that option for a larger, in order to accommodate the
Okay.
updated schedule.
And then to piggyback off Rick's question about the RFP, did you send an amendment, a documented amendment, or just verbally talk to
Oh, yeah,
anybody?
So we've got the, kind of from the construction side, we have the plan holders, so everyone who has a copy of the RFP currently, and they all received, we took all the questions that we've gotten from everyone, put them all together, answered all of them, and shot that out to everyone equally.
Shot it out as just one
One doc-
response to
yep.
all the questions?
Correct.
Excellent. Thank you. That's all I got.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Fletcher?
Nothing.
Mr. Abel?
I do. Speaking of recycling, I'll piggyback on what Simon was talking about. Somebody asked me the other day why the city doesn't do electronic recycling, and I said, did you get this in the mail? About a month ago, maybe? Went to everybody in 61554, maybe the county, but right at the top of this page is electronics. It lists everything you can think of just about where you can recycle it. And then
I
it
got
came from
one.
the Tazewell County Health Department. You could probably get one from them. I'm just going by, it said, postal customer, so I guessed every mailbox was. Okay, very good. Did not come from the city, though. This is county. And then one last thing, been asked by several people, do we or Hospitality Incorporated, whatever they're called, have an alternative site? And I said, I didn't think so, I didn't know. Well, several people, some of them work down there and they know quite a bit about the place. Have they thought about Powerton? It's already got a in-loop cooling system. He said the scrubbers have never been put on those stacks that are current now. And the guys that work there say, why couldn't that plant be right next door to the data center? And a lot less wildlife situation maybe. Just an idea, and I did not know if they had a plan B if
Sure.
this didn't work out in the long run, but just throwing it out there.
Yeah, so I'll just say that the city has not engaged in any discussion about a secondary site in Pekin with this developer. I have no clue if they have considered, secondary sites.
Too small.
Yeah, to be fair to somebody's public comment, the industrial park might be a good spot. It's not large enough. We don't control enough land. The landowner to the south of us has been very hesitant to talk with us about anything like that. So that's just not an option for this project. The Powerton site theoretically in the future could be an option. It's not in the city. We would have no control over that. But I would say that the environmental, what would you say, the environmental remediation or the environmental review that would have to take place for anything to do anything with that facility in the future is going to be extremely daunting, and my guess is that these folks would not at all be interested in pursuing that.
I mean, I'll admit the people that have contacted me either work there now or a couple of them are retired and they know a lot about it and they just thought they've been.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a bad idea.
Literature about the cooling, and he said, cooling's already there. They were just thinking it might be a starter. So, thank you.
Are you done?
Yeah.
I just have a couple of things. First of all, I want to thank all the people that were here tonight that gave their input. We really appreciate it. Does make a difference. I did have something I wanted to read. It says, this year we will celebrate, it's from Carson Norman. She's a daycare provider. She says, this year we will celebrate Kellen's third year post-cancer treatment. With each passing day, we are reminded of her strength, resiliency, and growth. With our hearts on the mend, we would like to support local families currently experiencing the same hardship we once did. A cancer diagnosis for oneself or a loved one is a physical and mental battle that requires ongoing love and support. To continue to support Kellen and other children battling cancer, we are selling some apparel. Purchases can be made from February 1st till February 21st. Apparel will be available via pickup, delivery, or shipping 1 to 2 weeks after the purchase period. Proceeds will be split between a couple of families who currently have a child undergoing treatment. All products will have our girls hashtag Kellen's Crew on the back and will be printed by one of the twins. Kellen is a twin. Preschool teachers, thank you for your continuing love and support. I do want to let you know that this is what it looks like. I have some copies I've put by the back door if anyone is interested in purchasing this. It's for a great cause. I would certainly suggest it. Wonderful people. And that's all I have, except for.
Mayor Pro Tem.
Yes.
I'd like the record to reflect that the mayor is here, and that obviously the city council, I think, the people in front of me and the people behind me or next to me, we all believe in great causes. That obviously was not an endorsement of any particular cause or anything like that. It was a correspondence that was issued to a council member.
Yes.
Correspondence was then thereafter relayed, but not an endorsement or anything like that. But again, I don't think anyone ever on this body wants to besmirch a great cause or anything like
Right.
that, or for family involvement. I would like to say the mayor is here, and that's it. So I'm sure we should probably do a roll call, but I think, was that it, or no? I mean, was that the last comment?
That was.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
We are just getting
Yeah.
ready to go into.
Do you want to recess?
Yes.
for
I
five.
would,
You wanna read
I would like to make, I would like someone to make a motion to go into collective.
Oh, Yeah, hold on, hold on.
Go for it, Peg. It's all you. It's all you.
I move that we move into
make
executive
it-
session 5
Should do that.
120/2C, 10.15
Yeah, I did say that. She was-
120/2C2, collective negotiating matters between public body and its employees or their representatives, or deliberations concerning salary schedules for one or more classes of employees. Also including 10.25 ILCS 120/2C5, the purchase or lease of real property for the use of the public body, including meetings held for the purpose of discussing whether a particular parcel should be acquired. And 10.3, number 5 ILCS 120/2C11, litigation when the public body finds that an action is probable or imminent. Second.
Thank you, Ms. Phillips, for the motion, and second by Mr. Nutter.
Fair, turnabout, fair play.
Place your vote. Take your vote. We will be going into closed session, and we will not be making any, we will not be doing any business afterwards, so.
No voting.
No voting. Nando, right?
Yeah, we should, let's do a roll call. Let's do a quick roll call.
Sorry, council. May we do a quick roll call because the mayor is present now?
I think we're taking a.
Okay, Councilmember Hilst,
Here.
Councilmember Abel, Councilmember Phillips,
Here.
Councilmember Fletcher, Councilmember Nutter,
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Hoheimer, Mayor Burris.
Mr. Peepee.